Okay, in part one, we worked through the first two problems here on example one from the notes, and we paused for you to try this third example on your own. So let's go ahead and check and see how you did. So in the y equals, we'll go ahead and clear out our last problem. And in y1, we're going to graph the left side, which is the sine of negative x. And then in y2, we will graph the right side, which is the cosine of x minus pi divided by 2. Okay. And then zoom 7 for zoom trig. And right now we're seeing the graph of the sine of negative x, and then here comes the graph of the cosine of x minus pi over 2. Okay, and so you can see that they definitely are not coinciding, but they might be intersecting here. So let's take a look at the table. And sure enough, right, at 0, at pi, at 2 pi, that or y1 and y2 both have the same value of 0, so they're intersecting there. But at pi over 2, they have different values, right? -1 and +1, so they're not intersecting at pi over 2. At 3 pi over 2, same thing, right? 1 and -1, so they're not intersecting there either. So when we go ahead and sketch that picture here on our notes paper, we kind of have figure 8s going back and forth. There we go. And so you can see here at 0, at pi, right, at 2 pi, at -pi, -2 pi. Those are the points where the graphs are intersecting, but those are the only points they have in common. So we're going to put our check in the true for some x values column. Now, can it be an identity if it's only true for some values? And the answer there is no. In order to be an identity, it has to be true for all values, because the purpose of an identity is that we can substitute one for the other. So if I was solving an equation, for example, and I saw cosine of 2x minus 1 over 2, that might be harder to deal with in my equation than something like negative sine squared of x. So I would use an identity to swap out one for the other to simplify the problem, make it a little easier to deal with. Okay, so hope that went well, and we're going to move on to example 2 then in the next video.